I'd like to call the meeting to order for Monday, March 6, 2017. Please rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alderman Robert Taylor will lead us in prayer.
Let's pray. Dear gracious, eternal God, we thank you for this day. Thank you for this day's blessing. We thank you for what you have done and what you're going to do. We thank you for things being as well as they are. And we ask right now, Father, you touch each and every one under the sound of my voice. Touch their hearts, their minds, and their souls. And we ask right now that you bless those that are watching over us, that keep us safe. And for that, God, we tell you thank you. We thank you for this board, Father, and we ask that you touch us right now and lead us and guide us in the way in which we should go. This is our prayer in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is roll call. Please show all present. Line recorder. Next item on the agenda, approval of minutes. I entertain a motion to approve the minutes from February 21st, 2017.
So moved.
Motion from Carolyn Norman. Is there a second? Second from Robert Taylor Jr. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mayor. Mr. Jones, I still haven't got the copy of that corrected. You bring it with you? Thank you, sir.
Good.
Last page. That's all.
You want to look at that and make sure that's sufficient?
Yeah, that's good. Very good.
And we'll send out corrections to the board as well, so they can put in their packet of minutes tomorrow. Okay, all right, good deal. Next item on the agenda, unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? Under new business, we have 3 public hearings tonight. That information was sent to you in the last packet, last agenda packet. The first one is public hearing, ordinance number BB 670, a revision to the property maintenance code ordinance, curbside sanitation pickup policy update, including changes to specific fees. And the one following that's a public hearing tonight, March 6, 2017, ordinance BB 671, a revision to the refuse and trash disposal ordinance, including specific fees. Those kind of go hand in hand. So we'll do the first one first. Ordinance BB 670, property maintenance code ordinance. That was in your agenda that was sent out last time. Any questions about that? This is a public hearing. If anybody in the audience that wishes to speak to that.
Those specific fees, is that going to be what we don't pick up and they can contact City Hall and pay to have it come picked up?
I'm going to defer to Thomas. He was involved in both of these ordinances.
Okay, how are y'all doing this afternoon? The current policy that we have, which is the policy that was adopted back in 2013, October 2013, that policy is going to be removed. It's going to be taken over by your new ordinance that you're going to look at tonight. To answer your question, the way the new ordinance is written, and we can talk about that in a little while if you want to, there is a fee of $350, a minimum charge of $350 if we, being the city, has to come onto the property and remove it. So virtually, if you remember how we set this up, the city has a list of what all they're going to pick up. If it's something they don't pick up, TV, tires, hazardous material, or home cleanouts, we're going to placard the property, give them 48 hours. At the end of that time, the city's going to come back and we're going to pick it up. And we're going to charge them a minimum of $350 to charge the property owner. There is not it's not a procedure set up where they can call into City Hall and have it picked up. If they fail to pick it up, there'll be a minimum charge of $350 assessed. Did I answer your question?
Does it have to be on the curb, Thomas, or is it just on the lot?
No, sir, it has to be on the curb. If it's on the lot, we'll treat it as sanitation debris.
Okay.
And we'll do that through the court system.
Thank you.
If it's on the curb and we don't pick it up, we're going to contact them?
If it's on the curb and it's something that we do not pick up, we're going to placard the property. 48 hours later, the city of Dyersburg is going to send a crew to pick it up. There'll be a minimum bill of $350 assessed to the property owner for that service.
If they don't have it picked up in 48 hours, is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. And like I said, we're going to be picking up a lot of stuff. The same policy you guys adopted through committee. are approved through committee. But there will be things like TVs and tires and household clean out, construction debris, tree debris that the city will not be picking up. Those will be what are charged for.
How will that collection be handled? On the front end or the back end, or to be paid to the city?
Well, we have a couple different processes. We're working on a process now to put liens on the property. That's what we talked about. There's another city close to us that actually uses the lien process, and we're hoping that's going to be effective for the city.
Thank you.
Now, Thomas, is the driver calling in? We discussed how we're gonna start that process. If they don't pick up something, they call.
Well, in the committee meeting, we discussed having the driver use his truck radio, contact his supervisor or assistant supervisor, notifying them of an area that they don't feel comfortable picking up. At that point, the assistant or the supervisor will come to the site, evaluate it. If it's something that they do pick up, he'll send his driver back to pick it up. If it's something that we do not pick up, they'll notify codes. At that point, we'll take it and go with it.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments? Anybody in the public wish to speak to this? Okay, hearing none, entertain a motion to approve this ordinance, the revision to the property maintenance code ordinance.
So moved.
Motion from Bob Kirk, second from Mike Morgan. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next item on the agenda, public hearing, March 6, 2017. Ordinance number BB 671, a revision to the refuse and trash disposal ordinance, including specific fees. That also was in your agenda. That was mailed out 2 weeks ago. This is a public hearing. Anybody in the audience wish to speak to it, or if there's any questions from the board? Hearing no questions or comments, entertain a motion to approve this.
So moved.
Motion from Kevin Cheney, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Terry Glover, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next item on the agenda, public hearing tonight, March 6, 2017, ordinance number BB 672, an ordinance of the city of Dyersburg regulating the permitting and operations of transient vendors to include specific fees. That also was attached in your agenda 2 weeks ago. This is a public hearing. I'd entertain any comments about that or any questions from the board.
Yeah, Mayor. I think we might need to table this tonight. I got a copy of the city current business license holders. No thanks to the city. I was able to get it somewhere else after being refused at City Hall, but I haven't had time to go through this, but the first 120 I've gone through, I found 42 problems. Not all are with the city, some are with the county. But I think before we get too much further down the road on this, I think we might ought to wait till we get through with this. It's going to take a while. There's a lot of them to go through. And see if this is the route we really want to go, or we want to maybe change some of the way we do the business license there. Maybe even explore the possibility of merging it with the county, where it's one-stop shopping. There, everybody's told the same information. Everybody goes to one place and they get it. I don't even know that that's possible. Just an idea, but my motion would be to table this until just a little further along on this list of doing a comparison to.
Okay, we've got a motion from Alderman Cheney to table this. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, any discussion?
Yes, I would like a copy that, Alderman Taylor would like a copy of that, those businesses that Cheney had to go around the world to get it. We should be able to get it directly from the city. So I would like a copy.
I'm sure Alderman Cheney can give you that copy. Is that correct?
I could, but I think she's entitled to one from the city, so.
Yes, I think that's, all the aldermen should get a copy of it from the city.
So.
Well, I disagree with you, Alderman Norman. Based on the public records law that was passed by the state of Tennessee in 2009 and initially adopted by the board in February 16, 2009, as far as access to public records.
access to public records
Yes,
to
ma'am.
elected officials should be welcome, that we should be able to get it. We are elected officials asking for information regarding the city, and we are responsible to our taxpayers to know what's going on.
That's right. I will read you a email I got from Melissa Ashburn regarding this. Alderman Cheney did come into City Hall last Monday requesting a copy of that. He was notified he had to fill out a request for public records. This email is from Melissa Ann Ashburn, who's the lead counsel for MTAS. And it says, "It is a well-settled law in our state that governing body members are officers of the city and have no individual powers to act other than through the board to which they are elected, unless specifically assigned powers in the city charter. Dyersburg has no charter language indicating individual board members other than the mayor have any powers to direct employees or otherwise control city affairs unless they are acting as a board and voting on city matters. Dyersburg Alderman therefore cannot direct city employees or interfere with any city operations individually. They may only act through action of the governing body. And as such, they are considered citizens and they are required to file a request like any other citizen." So that's the reason that request wasn't allowed last Monday. We're just following state law. Obviously, if Alderman Cheney has it, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to share that with you.
Well, I disagree with you, Mayor, and I think some of the others on the board also do. You know, we're supposed to be conducting business for our taxpayers, and I don't think it falls within the line of what you're reading to us. Plus, I think you have the power as the mayor to give that to us.
I'm gonna follow state law, Alderman Norman. That's what I'm gonna do.
Well, either way, it's a mess. It's gonna take a lot of work to clean up, so,
Now, you're saying the list you got is business licenses. We're not talking about regular business licenses on this. We're talking about transient vendor
that's
license,
right.
which is separate from what you're discussing, I think. Would that be correct?
That's correct. But it will all fall under the same thing, and if one's not being done right, I don't have a lot of confidence that we won't continue down that path, and I think we ought to just pause on this tonight till we get this sorted out.
I personally think we're making a big mistake, honestly. Business licenses, by law, when somebody comes into City Hall and requests a business license, by law, we're supposed to give it to them. Costs $15. That's the only oversight the city has for that. We don't have anybody that goes around and checks business licenses unless this board wants to do that and hire somebody to do that. As far as enforcement, we never enforced city business licenses that I'm aware of. But again, I think we're talking about two different things. But anyway, you got the list and you made the motion. There's the second. Is there any other discussion? Do we have a motion and a second? Or did we have a second?
Could someone second?
Yeah, Robert.
There's a second.
Robert.
Robert Taylor second. Okay, it's got a motion and a second to table what's on the agenda about the transient vendors. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Aye. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, Finance Committee meeting minutes for Wednesday, March 1st, 2017. I'll get to it. Chairman Kevin Cheney. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. The Finance Committee met at 10 a.m. at City Hall in the second floor conference room. Committee members present, Mayor John Holden, Alderman Terry Glover, Bob Kirk, and Chairman Kevin Cheney. Other attendees, Alderman Mike Morgan, Steve Anderson, Treasurer, Scott Ball, Stormwater and Construction Inspector, Greg Williams, Purchasing Agent, Thomas Mullins, Codes Department, Brandon Hutchinson, State Gazette. The meeting was opened with prayer by Alderman Terry Glover. Chairman Kevin Cheney opened the floor quarterly review of various items in the city budget. Areas reviewed include various department budget spending standpoints, business and real property tax collections, public safety administration, city court collections, potential property liens on property maintenance violations, status of the McDowell Center and airport improvements, grant status, budgeting city attorney's fees, and sanitation study update. No specific action was taken by the committee. With no other business before the committee, The meeting adjourned at 10:50 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's get bids. Greg Williams. Sorry about that.
Bid I have tonight is for the airport, and this is something we've been working on for quite a while. And we're trying to acquire the 3 houses there on Airport Road right at the entrance to the airport. This is 2 tracts of property with 3 houses on them. We applied and were granted a grant through TDOT Aeronautics that is a 95-5 grant through federal and state funding, 5% match being that of the city. And the purpose of buying these houses is one, to kind of know, I guess, what the property is going to be used for. The houses were beginning to run down, but it will also provide a buffer between the airport property and adjacent property, provide visibility from the highway, provides property for potential entrance road realignment, and allows for any future development of aeronautic use. We have been in, like I say, we've been in the process, in the grant process through the state. It's very tedious or arduous, and it's required us to get an environmental site assessment, 2 different appraisals, and survey, and several different hoops we had to jump through. Then we were able to make an offer to the seller, which is to settle the estate of the late Kerry Spindler. We were able to send them an offer, and they have accepted the offer based on the appraisal that we were required to follow. So I bring this to you tonight for recommending the purchase of these properties for $180,000, and that price is fair market value as established by 2 TDOT state appraisers. Of this $180,000, the city share will be $9,000. So I recommend approving the purchase of these houses.
That's 5% of the purchase price. So it was 95.5.
That's correct.
Okay.
There were other charges for the appraiser and the site assessment and the survey and the acquisition agent, but as far as the purchase price, our part will be $9,000.
Greg, what about demolition of to get rid of those houses? Are we gonna do that?
We're gonna do that.
Is that a part of the grant that we're getting, or the money we're getting, or do we have to have
No, we'll do
additional?
we'll do that on our own later.
Okay, all right, okay.
How much acres did we get?
It's, I think they're each around an acre, but one maybe a little bit more than, like 1.2 maybe, I'm not real.
3 houses.
Let's see.
Yeah.
I think I've got a copy of the survey.
3 houses.
One is a half acre, a little over a half acre, and one is 1.5 acres, so 2.23 acres total.
Any other questions?
So moved, Mayor.
Motion from Bob Kirk.
Second.
Second from Dennis Moody. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Next on the agenda, report from Alderman Bob Kirk.
Yeah, Mayor, I want to congratulate, I think you've been on the trip with the dance team from DHS, and I think they did very well in Orlando, is that where it was?
Yes, sir.
And I think we ought to commend them for their performance and representing the city of Dyersburg. And I got another question about, if I could, about what Alderman Cheney brought up. If we are looking for some, as we begin to get into the budgetary process and want to explore some opportunities or have some questions about finances or financial situations or departments spending, do we have to make a request to you to get that information, or can we go to Steve Anderson?
No, sir.
How do we handle that?
Well, just like we always have, we're in call session doing business conducted on behalf of the city of Dyersburg. You can get whatever information you want.
But if we're not in call session,
That's correct, according
we've
to the
got to
state
be
law.
in call session.
Yes, sir, you do.
I just can't call them and ask him for some police department information. Is that correct? Expenditures or revenues or anything? Is that the way you interpret the law, is what I'm asking?
This is the way I interpret the open records law that the state passed in 2009. And this body passed it February 16, 2009, also to follow that open records law. And I will tell you, it's going to be changed July 1st. There's a new policy coming out, new protocol for that, so
Yeah.
we're just trying to be consistent. I've had the State Gazette fill out open records requests. I've had other people fill out open records requests. The staff at City Hall knows to do that, so we're just trying to be compliant with what the state tells us to do.
I understand that, but we as elected officials, I think, have some rights to request that information to perhaps discharge our duties more effectively and efficiently.
That's right. And in every meeting, you've requested information, you've gotten it, correct?
At the meetings.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but I can't just call Steve and ask him.
Not according to state law, you can't. No, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Eskew?
Just want to remind everyone, I think we got some more inclement weather coming in tonight, so everybody needs to stay safe.
Thank you. Mr. Glover?
Last weekend, Dale Spring is here. The Recreation Center hosts 8 schools and a play day last Saturday. I think they use 4 fields, and I've looked at their softball schedule, and some of it, so the spring is here. They're getting ready to get active. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin?
I want to thank to the city crews and electric company for the hard work they've done since the last storm. I hope maybe we can dodge a bullet tonight there. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
I have nothing.
Mr. Moody?
I have nothing.
Ms. Carolyn?
Just a comment. I don't have to have a rebuttal or anything like that, but every time we have the attorney's bill presented, of course, it's more than what we budgeted, and it has been explained to us why, we understand why. But at the last meeting, we had the attorney here for the second time on the same item, and I don't think that's looking at the way we should be spending money in regards to legal fees. My opinion, my comment, but for him to come up here twice over the same item was just out of line, in my opinion.
Thank you. Robert Taylor? I'd like to echo the comments about the city crews last Wednesday with the storm that occurred, from the safe room staff that opened up the facilities early that morning, to the fire department, to the police department, street department that performed a lot of cleanup that day and still is doing some of that. Traffic safety folks that assisted with the traffic flow and closing roads, the gas department, water and sewer department, all those that were involved in some way to help the citizens last Wednesday. I think Thomas and Kevin did a windshield assessment the next morning, or that morning, approaching probably $700,000 in damage just based on a rough estimate, I think. Also, Greg Williams sent out some information today about damage to city facilities, and the adjuster will be here when, Greg? Wednesday. We had several items and buildings that were damaged, the city owns, so, and I forwarded that to the Alderman as well.
Did that assessment include the damage that the electric system has to deal with, Mayor, or do you know?
No, sir.
Okay,
Does
that's
not.
in addition. We don't have any numbers from them.
No, sir.
But they had to do a lot of work to bring some other crews in, and I was just wondering if that included that.
No, sir, it's just property damage and things like that within the city limits of Dyersburg. And lastly, we have 3 members of the Dyer County Leadership Group here. Glad y'all came tonight and participated and watched our meeting. With that, we're adjourned. Thank you.